Hey there, Julia Gentry here, and this week we are going to talk about cutting the habits that don't serve us. And this has been top of mind for me for a couple of reasons. Number one, Travis and I are doing a series on the Dream On podcast right now about quitting your way to success. And one of the episodes really focused in on addiction. And we had so many questions, shares, aha moments, like life-changing testimonials for people that I wanted to dive into this even more. And also because as we are in a new year, I would love to say that so many of us are chasing and tackling the dreams and the goals that are most important to us, and statistically speaking, we're not. Let me put it this way. Statistically speaking, 38% of us are setting New Year's resolutions and goals, which means 38% of people are aligned and on target with what they want most in the new year. That leaves a large percentage of people who have no idea, no revelation, no fire, no passion, no direction. And I'm convinced that 2023 is the year of the dream. And so each and every week, we are going to continue to unpack, what does it mean to dream? Why do we need a dream? Why is there power in a dream? How do we do this? And today, we're really going to focus in on understanding how to cut the habits. Now, in my book, I talk a lot about this, and I use this analogy of climbing Everest. When we go to set a goal, or when we really focus in on a dream that God has given us, generally those dreams will blow our mind because they're bigger than us, right? They allude to this idea that I need to go where I've never gone, do what I've never done, and potentially kick some habits that got me to where I am, but probably won't take me to where I've never been, right? So we're going to put our dream as the summit, like the peak of Everest. Now, you back up from that and we're at the very bottom. Some of us haven't even done any training to prepare, and we're not really going to go into that today. But the idea is that if we put our dream at the top of the summit and we put ourselves at the very starting line, what we have to understand about the journey to the summit is that there are base camps along the way that the climbers must kind of have these like false summit moments where they climb high to base camp 1 and then sleep low. Then they climb high to base camp 2 and then they sleep low. And then they climb high to base camp 3 and then they sleep low. Why? Well, part of this is that they're actually training themselves to go where they've never gone. They're having one of these peak moments, but then they're coming back down to settle into the revelation, to the expansion, to the growth, to the things that are happening within them and around them to acclimate to a new way of doing something, right? If we actually talk about this practically, the climbers are climbing high, sleeping low. Why? To actually allow their body to normalize around a new level, a new territory, a new dimension, lesser oxygen. Well, the same is true for you and I. As I continue to grow in my journey and even mature in my understanding mentally, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, it means that I'm actually going to start to climb higher, take new territory, expand my capacity, and I have to be willing to actually settle in and learn something I've never learned before. I need to acclimate around new information, around new thought processes, around new ways of doing things. And that's a lot. And we don't even realize it's happening. But the piece that I really want to focus in on today is what has actually stopped you from getting to the quote unquote next base camp in your journey. And maybe this for you today is you fall in that category of the large percentage who you haven't even put your dream at the top of the Everest because you're so tired, disappointed, and depleted. And your step today may simply just be identifying or re-identifying your dream again. That might be your step today. For others, let's call it the 38% of you who have set a goal, but you're stuck at a base camp, or you just can't quite get to the next level, this is something I really want you to unpack, which is this idea of quitting the habit that isn't serving you to get to the next level. And some of us might call this addiction, like legit vices, alcohol, drugs, substance, drinking, as I said, shopping, work, food, busy, right? Like we have these vices that oftentimes keep us from who we really want to be. Now, we also have these habits that don't serve us, right? They could be habits in our workout routine, habits in our day, habits in our week, habits in our career. Like we create these habits. And a lot of times the most interesting thing about kicking a habit is that we don't realize that it served us, right? Like it got us to where we are, but it won't take us to where we've never been. This is what the climbers on Everest understand quite well. And the message I want to get across to you today, which is, what is the habit that got you to where you are, but isn't going to take you to where you've never been? For most of you, the minute I ask that, you know exactly what it is, because it's the first thing that comes to your mind. It's that first thought. It might be people pleasing, avoiding alcohol, substance abuse. It might be work. It might be anxiety. Like you all know, it's the thing. It's the sugar. It's the shopping. What is it? Because we're going to tackle that today. Because what the climbers on Everest know is that as they go from one base camp to the next, they're actually not acquiring new supplies. Like the climber doesn't get to base camp 1 and go, hey, load me up, Sherpa, like put more on my back. Let's make this harder. What do? They actually release gear. They let go of the heavy load and even the supplies that served them to get to that base camp. But they understand that I've got to let this thing go. I've got to let go of weight. I have to let go of this supply, because though it got me here, it won't take me there. It won't take me where I've never been. So the question we need to be asking first and foremost is, what is the habit that got me to where I am, but won't take me to where I've never been? That's number one. We have to identify what the habit is, okay? Once you know what that is, I want you to write it down. Go public. Go public with yourself. Write it down right now. What is it? Is it alcohol? Is it people pleasing? And then I want you to identify, well, how has it served you, right? Like at some level, our habits have served us. Though they don't sound great. Like when we go, well, how has alcohol served me? Well, for me, it was a place that I could hide, right? For people pleasing, someone who says, well, I'm a people pleaser, how in the heck is that serving me? Well, it helps you to avoid rejection, right? It gives you artificial love and acceptance. So it works until it doesn't. For other people, whether it's a substance abuse or shopping or even work, right? It can give you power. It can make you feel like you're in control. It can make you feel like you have some semblance of certainty in this very uncertain world. And so at some level, we have to ask ourselves, what is this thing giving me? This is the question that changes everything. What is the habit giving you that you can't get on your own in a healthy way? This is huge. Now, when I say on your own, let me actually dive into the word here a little bit, because what I mean is that God promises in his word that he will never give us more than we can bear. And he has always given us a way out. He's always given us the thing that we need to go from base camp 1 to base camp 2. But I have to understand first and foremost is, what is this thing giving me that I can't get from myself, that I can't get from God alone? What is it? Is it because I need to hide? Is it I need a break? Is it I need some more joy? Is it I want to feel alive and I don't? Is it I need certainty? I want to feel stronger. I want to be more present. I want to tune out. What is it? Your answer is not wrong. Within your answer is actually going to give you the next step in what you need to be taking to the feet of Jesus and asking him to supply you with. Let's break this down. In the book of 2 Peter, chapter 1, verse 3, it says, his divine power has given us everything we need for life and godliness through our knowledge of him who called us by his own glory and goodness. Through these, he has given us very great and precious promises, so that through them you may participate in the divine nature and escape the corruption in the world caused by evil desires, i.e., habits that don't serve us, habits that help our instant gratification and need for speed and desire to hide and desire to be better than and desire to seek consistency. What we're doing is we're asking the world to give us something that God has already given us, that has already died for and brought to us, that now we have to guard like our life depends on it. His divine power has given us everything we need for life and godliness through our knowledge of him who called us by his own glory and goodness. You either believe that or you don't. You either today will look at the thing that has gotten you to where you are, the thing that you've asked the world to give you, certainty. You've asked alcohol to give you certainty. You've asked people-pleasing to give you love and acceptance. You've asked the world to give you power. You've asked social media to make you feel significant. You've asked shopping to make you feel more important. You've asked the world to give you something that it was never designed to give you. And we have to either realize that and shift our perspective, or then the truth isn't the truth. His divine power has given us everything we need for life and godliness through our knowledge of him. Meaning, we will only get what we really need through him and our knowledge of him as the source, the substance of everything I could be craving. So how we start kicking addictions is, number one, we have to recognize what we're addicted to. Then we have to recognize what we're asking the addiction to give us. Then we have to recognize who he is and how he can give us. In us. He's put it in me. He's given it to me. And the knowledge and revelation of who he is, he's given that to me. And now I need to call it as though it's so. So if I say, well, alcohol has given me a place to hide, and what it's giving me is safety and security, then what I need to be asking myself is, how can I get that safety and security and the comfort of God in his own arms and in his word? How can I get that from him? And then I dive in and I lose myself to a comfort of the great and almighty God who can actually fulfill that need, as opposed to continuing to ask the resource of alcohol to give me something that it can never give me. Now, could it give me a place to hide for a minute? Yes. Could the sugar make me feel happy for a minute? Yes. Could people pleasing serve me for a minute? Yes. But I'm looking for true, lasting success and significance. I'm looking for some sustainability here. Well, where am I going to get that? Oh, the only place you can. In his divine power that has given us everything we need for life and godliness. Life and godliness. To be alive and to do good. If you today are sitting there going, I just want to feel alive and I want to do good. I want to live into his purpose. I want to see heaven on earth. I want to make the world a better place. His divine power has given us everything that we need through our knowledge of him. Stop asking the world to give you something it was never designed to give you. Get clear on what you're asking, get clear on what you're seeking, but then take that to the foot of Jesus and go, how can you be my comfort? How can you be my significance? How can you be my place of rest? How can you be my acceptance? How can you actually fulfill me with the love I'm looking for? Because come to find out, all of those things will never fill you the way that he can. It says, through these, he has given us very great and precious promises, so that through them you may participate in the divine nature. He's asking us to take and to escape the corruption of what's going on around us, the habits, the patterns, and the addictions, and to actually tap into divine nature. Then he gives us instructions on how to do that, right? So if I'm willing to identify what it is, what my addiction is, then I'm willing to ask myself, what is this giving me that I can't get from myself, that I can't get from God, more importantly? Then he's actually giving me the instructions to say, all right, now I'm going to turn to you, God, and I'm going to seek you as my place of comfort. I'm going to seek you as my place of hiding. I'm going to seek you as my place of acceptance. Then it goes on to say, for this very reason, make every effort to add faith, make every effort to add to your faith goodness. Start with faith. Now I have to believe that the word is what the word is, that the word does what the word says. So it says, add to your faith goodness, and to goodness knowledge, and to knowledge self-control, and to self-control perseverance, and to perseverance godliness, and to godliness kindness, and to kindness love. For if you possess these qualities in increasing measure, they will keep you from being ineffective and unproductive. This is how we quit the habit. We actually say, I'm going to look at it for what it is. I'm going to own the addiction, the thing that I'm asking to be my source. I'm going to ask the bold question of what is this giving me that God can't give me? Then I'm going to take that to the feet of Jesus. I'm going to say, here's what I'm needing. I need a place to hide. I need love. I need joy. I need acceptance. I need significance. I need to feel important. We're going to take it to his feet, and then we're going to say, all right, I'm going to trust that you can do this here. I'm going to have faith that this will work. Then in goodness, I'm going to walk it out. I'm going to act like you actually are my source, God. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to just conceptualize it. I'm going to walk this thing out. Then I'm going to lean into the knowledge of you. I'm going to seek wisdom with all my heart. Proverbs talks about this. Proverbs chapter 2 talks about this, that when we actually petition him and ask for more wisdom, like we actually pray for more understanding, like our life depends on it, that he supplies it to us. It's his good and perfect gift to give us more, right? Then when we have the knowledge, then he's going to layer in the self-control to be able to walk it out, to be able to go from base camp 1 to base camp 2 with some discipline, knowing that it's going to be hard, and there's going to be days that I'm going to want to go back, and there's days that I'm going to want to turn to the vice, and there's days that I'm going to want to go back to base camp 1. But he's going to infuse me with the self-control and the discipline, which then will bring forth perseverance. Perseverance, what is perseverance? It's the ability to keep going. It's the ability to sustain the path that's before me. It's the ability to keep climbing even on hard days. It's a divine perseverance that keeps me going even when I feel the pull to stop. Once I have perseverance, I'm going to tap into godliness. Godliness is basically just the graciousness of our God, giving us the grace to continue moving forward, to not be perfect, but to walk in our nature of children of God. From there, it says that then we will have kindness, and kindness will produce love. What is love? It's sustainability. Love is the ability to know that now I will continue to do this because I'm no longer asking the world to give me something that he's already given me. So now I actually live from love. I live from freedom. I live from self-control. I live from acceptance. I live from victory. Now, summiting is just par for the course. Getting to the top is now no longer about just a good strategy or a good idea or good metrics. Sure, all of those things are awesome. But now I'm playing at a totally different level because I'm playing from revelation. I'm playing the game of life from heaven's perspective. I'm playing from love. Therefore, I don't need the world to give me something that God has already given me. This is how we cut the habit. This is how we kick it, how we cut it, how we shove it, how we push it, how we break the chains of all the things that have been holding us down, keeping us playing small, sticking us back in the past, putting us in the box of reality. No, this is how we kick the habit and look more like heaven on this side of eternity. What are our steps? Break this down for you again. Number 1, identify the addiction. Identify the habit. Identify the thing that's keeping you from where you want to be. Number 2, ask yourself the question, what am I asking this thing to give me that God cannot give me? He's already put it in me. So what is it that I keep asking this thing for that God already has given me? Then once you have that divine revelation, you're going to walk this thing out in faith and believe it to be true, so that everything you need for life and godliness through the knowledge of him can actually become a precious promise in your life, and you can participate in the divine nature and start climbing from love, from freedom. This is how we kick the habit. So I pray that this has encouraged you to either A, start dreaming, put your dream at the top of that summit and get ready to climb, or B, That as you settle in at base camp 1 or base camp 2 or wherever the analogy lands for you, that you recognize today that what got you to where you are isn't going to take you to where you've never been. And the vices and the habits and the addictions that have kept you bound will never set you free. This is your invitation to walk out your freedom this year, to walk out the true identity as being a child of God in the new year. I hope you join me, because all we got to do is climb, baby.